much of. They say they're reviewing this on Bro Sanchez's now. So I didn't get to watch the Bro Sanchez interview last night. My hope would be that people on Bro Sanchez were making the similar arguments that I was making to Jeran, and these are the arguments he needs to hear.
And everybody else, basically, everybody else is saying the same thing. It's like fucking a coincidence of some kind that everybody's thinking along the same lines. I mean, it's just fucking weird.
What were they taking a similar line of reasoning as I was on Bro Sanchez's last night? I don't know. I didn't watch.
I mean, like the line of reasoning is just because Jeran goes to Antarctica and sees the 24-hour sun doesn't, and him saying that if he sees the 24-hour sun, then Earth cannot possibly be flat.
You made it sound like you're going to say the Earth is a globe.
I'm going to say that the Earth cannot be flat.
So it cannot be flat. So it must be a globe.
It's a fucked up statement, and Bro Sanchez is talking about how fucked up that is. And then Bro Sanchez, I was watching it till like 5 something in the morning, my time, and he was saying like the Earth is flat. Like are you a flat earther? Like he's cornering Jeran to admit to the fact that he's a flat earther, and Jeran has to admit to the fact that he's a flat earther. So he's saying like that is a fucking strong argument already. That is our star player. That's what Bro Sanchez is saying. Like talking about the sun and what it's doing in Antarctica is extracurricular activity. Why are we going to the extracurricular activity when we have the flat Earth already? And then the globe earthers cannot debunk the flat Earth. So what are we doing? Basically that was his argument.
Yeah, I'll be interested to watch that and then watch his review. It's really not about me or Jeran or anybody else. It's about a true thing versus a false thing. And how do we elucidate that? Now, my position is that we can use logic, reason, and certain tools like the scientific method, practical demonstration, things like that, to approach some degree of truth. When one begins to conjecture in theory, concepts, and abstractions, then you evidence the fallacious reasoning and thought processes that Jeran so blatantly displayed today.
Okay, everybody, we are going to continue on with this because it's like it feels like Christmas today. I don't know about you guys. I didn't realize that Christmas can come so early, but it's a gift that keeps on giving, and that's Jeran right over here.
You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations.
The thing is, everybody understands my claim. I've said it for 3 weeks ad nauseum. Okay,
right? We all understand your fallacious.
Great. Yeah, sure, it's fallacious. Sure,
corrupt.
No, it's anybody with any intelligence realizes that the sun cannot be going around somebody in Antarctica and the Earth be flat.
You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations.
No, it's anybody with any intelligence realizes that the sun cannot be going around somebody in Antarctica and the Earth be flat.
You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations. But I also understand that if you lived, let's just say if, and I'm just putting an if out there, if we lived on a gigantic ball, which seems insane to me, but let's just say we did. Well, let's say that we had a Home Depot, we placed a Home Depot on that ball, and we know that everywhere in the Home Depot is flat. Just kind of picture a Home Depot, we know it's all level. If we put a level anywhere on that Home Depot floor, it's going to show level. So now let's picture that the entire world is nothing but a Home Depot, right? So it's a ball Earth, but it's a Home Depot. Well, everywhere on that Home Depot will be flat, okay? So there is no place, you would not be able to take a spirit level anywhere in the Home Depot, place it down and say, nope, look, now it's showing curve. Yet I just said that we are on a curved Earth, we're on a ball, that's just a gigantic Home Depot. Stupid. So I think that sometimes we get a little bit ahead of ourselves and thinking that, yeah, okay, we have proven it flat. It is flat, but that's why, for instance, they don't use curvature math when they're doing bridges or when they're doing railroads, or because if you're going to build a railroad, picture I tell you, hey, you got to go build a railroad tomorrow. You're just going to bring pieces of track and
peace and much love. Welcome back, everybody. I want to break down some of the things that were said yesterday and also some of the things Jeran is saying on his show today. I'm disappointed because it's like, dang, all of his followers are going to become globalists too. I just peeped that in his chat room. Yeah. I learned something about YouTube. A lot of people are flat earthers because their favorite YouTuber is a flat earth. They didn't really do no homework themselves. So whatever that person say, they'll just change their mind. But I'm gonna break this down and show you what's crazy, right? Let's break down the clip that I'm playing right here about Jeran's new model is a Home Depot on top of a spear. I can't make this up. I can't make it up. But let's play some stuff to show you some hypocrisies.
ahead of ourselves and thinking that, yeah, okay, we have proven it flat. It is flat. But that's why, for instance, they don't use curvature math when they're doing bridges or when they're doing.
Now, out of Jeran's own mouth, guess what he said? He said that he's proven the earth flat. He's done the measurements. Let me play that back real quick because I'm going to walk this down.
Mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations. No,
You see what I'm saying? So he know that the earth is flat, but here's my point. Let's go to this part right here. This is where it gets interesting.
sometimes we get a little bit ahead of ourselves and thinking that, yeah, okay, we have proven it flat. It is flat. But that's why, for instance, they don't use curvature math when they're doing bridges or when they're.
You know why they don't use curvature math when they're doing bridges? Because it ain't no curvature. You know how we know it ain't no curvature? You just said you did all experiments to prove that it's flat. So to me, this is real dumb, man. Jeran is saying the reason they don't use curvature math is because if the earth is a big old ball, then they just gonna be laying train tracks. They would never even know they own a big ball. He's making a big ball argument, y'all. Everybody in flat earth is familiar with, hey man, the earth too big argument. He's now become a big ball earther. This man went from being an OG in the flat earth community to being a foot soldier, big ball earther. This is crazy, man. I wonder how much he really got paid. This is interesting. Let me see something.
When they're doing railroads, or because if you're going to build a railroad, picture I tell you, hey, we got to go build a railroad tomorrow. You're just going to bring pieces of track and you're going to lay them and connect them to the other piece, and then you're just going to keep doing that as you go along. At no point would you ever even have any idea that the earth is curved.
You know what's crazy? That's crazy. The man just said he did an experiment to prove that it's flat, though. And that would explain why they don't need to use curvature math, because it's flat. Duh.
Stupid.
Check it out.
Be flat. You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations. No, it's anybody.
So, Jeran, that answers your question. Why they don't use curvature math when they're doing railroad tracks? Because there's no curvature. It's flat. Oh, my God, Jeran, how much did they... I got to sit here and just speak my mind today, y'all. I got to. I slept on it, and this is just... It ain't right. It's not right, man. It's not right. Damn, it's crazy. Let's break this down.
The thing is, everybody understands my claim. I've said it for 3 weeks ad nauseum. Okay.
Right. We all understand your fallacious.
Great. Yeah, sure. Fallacious. Sure.
Corrupt.
No, it's anybody with any intelligence realizes that the sun cannot be going around somebody in Antarctica and the earth be flat.
You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations. No,
now, let me explain something to you about this hypocrisy, right? Anybody with common sense, I'm going to use Jeran's words, will know that you don't abandon mathematic, tangible measurements for a mysterious observation that neither side can fully explain. Because let's say that the sun is 24 hours in Antarctica. The question flat earthers got to ask, what Jeran been asking for years, is it 93 million miles away? See, if Jeran say, I observed the sun doing what the globalists said, so we on the globe. Guess what I can say? I observed clouds in front of the sun and behind it, so it must be close, and it must not be 93 million miles away, so it must be a flat earth. We can play the I observe game all day. But the question is, do the flat earthers observe curvature? If they don't, they got to keep saying it's flat based upon your own measurements, Jeran. I will always take a man's measurements over his observations and theories. Just because we observe something, we say, well, I have a model that can explain it, don't mean your model is reality. You see what I'm saying? That they're a model that explains an observation. That doesn't prove the model. It just says, hey, that's a valid explanation. And if there are other valid explanations, but contradicting models, now we're in trouble. See the problem with using that kind of logic? And how do we not fall into that problem? Just stick to, if you're trying to prove something, prove that thing. And don't try to prove that thing by observing something else. Because if I go outside with a ruler and measurement, math, and I measure that the earth is flat for myself, there aren't going to be any observations and theories that's going to make me go against my measurements. That's concrete right there. That's concrete experimentation. And I would never abandon my failed experimentation for just a mere observation. Because my observation ain't going to change the fact that I'm still going to go out there and measure it flat, Jack. Like my observation of what the sun doing ain't gonna change all of that equipment that he just named, his laser that he used, his mirror, all of that ain't lying. You think that stuff is a lie now because the sun did something. The sun did one little thing that I can't explain and that I didn't predict on my little model. That to me, that's ego. If that's where you coming from, that is some serious ego issues. What the sun doing ain't got nothing to do with what the ground doing. I mean, I can't repeat this enough. What the sun doing ain't got nothing to do with what Jeran's measurements and tools and lasers and rulers and all that doing when he went out there and measured it flat. So what I want Jeran to do is when he come back from Antarctica, if he see a 24-hour sun, I want him to redo his measurements and see that it changed the shape of the earth. I want him to get his laser back out and see now after his Antarctic trip, if he observed a 24-hour sun, does it change his measurements in his tangible, solid, concrete proof? Just saying. Just saying. And that's the silliness of what's going on right now. You know, so today is a call-in show, but I just got to play this thing one more time, man.
The thing is, everybody understands my claim. I've said it for 3 weeks ad nauseum. Okay.
Right. We all understand you're fallacious.
Great. Yeah, sure. Fallacious. Sure.
Corrupt.
No, it's anybody with any intelligence realizes that the sun cannot be going around somebody in Antarctica and the earth be flat. You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations. No, it's anybody with any intelligence realizes that the sun cannot be going around somebody in Antarctica and the earth be flat. You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations. But I also understand that if you live, let's just say if, and we're just putting an if out there, if we lived on a gigantic ball, which seems insane to me, but let's just say we did. Well, let's say that we had a Home Depot. We placed a Home Depot on that ball, and we know that everywhere in the Home Depot is flat. Just kind of picture a Home Depot. We know it's all level. If we put a level anywhere on that Home Depot floor, it's going to show level. So now let's picture that the entire world is nothing but a Home Depot, right? So it's a ball Earth, but it's a Home Depot. Well, everywhere on that Home Depot will be flat. Okay. So there is no place you would not be able to take a spirit level anywhere in the Home Depot, place it down and say, nope, look, now it's showing curve. Yet I just said that we are on a curved Earth. We're on a ball. That's just a gigantic Home Depot. So I think that sometimes we get a little bit ahead of ourselves and thinking that, yeah, okay, we have proven.
Okay. Now salute to cousin Vinny. How you doing, my brother? How you doing there?
Salute, bro Sanchez. First off, I want to say I think you handled Jeran very well yesterday. He kept trying to get off topic. We keep it simple. Like when I've been on your show and argued with Rob, I try to keep it simple to the curve and the spin. And, you know, it's a debating tactic, like you pointed out, to get off onto another topic. And this is a large scale, like a distraction to get people to, you know, look away from flat earth. A certain amount of them will look away because they say, oh, we saw this circling sun. But there is models like, you know, that have, you know, they use that globe projection thing that he's saying just for globalists. But there is something to the sun coming up on the east and the west that these people see. So there is other models, is my point. So he was really dismissive of any of that stuff. And to me, it was just kind of a debate topic or tactic that exposed him as a shill. And I thought you did a great job of not going down any of the rabbit holes. You kept him on point. And man, I was standing there clapping. I loved it. And I think that's one thing that's pretty clear here on your channel is that that's not something that there's a consensus on, that we have a model, but we do have a consensus on is that water is level. There's no curve. So if you want to argue that, come on and bring the smoke. But the other stuff is up for speculation. And a channel like yours is awesome because some of these conversations build into, you know, theories that, you know, make some sense. It's kind of like you get deeper than flat earth once you understand the water's level and there's no spin. And we're kind of building on deeper stuff than that. But going back to this kind of stuff, it's kind of going back to the basics. Hey, we already debunked this. Like, what's this observing the sun going to have anything to do with the levelness and the stationariness of the earth, you know? Yeah. And that's where it's confusing. And I think why so many people are saying, hey, shill, because, you know, for you to say, okay, I observed this and now it's a globe. Well, there could be other answers.
Yeah, that's I always peep that at the beginning of flat earth. Like, why don't they ever go into the ancient cosmology, the Mayan, the Olmec, all of this stuff? And now that's he's back to being a globalist. Yeah.
Well, because I think you know, it's ego. You mentioned he got the ego problem. If he's not a shill, there's a big ego problem that he's got to let go of that model that he was teaching, and he don't want to. But your channel gets to build on some of these ideas, and that's what I love about, you know, the ancients and so much of that stuff I've learned. And then I go deeper once we talk about it and look into it, because that stuff we're all speculating on. It'd be hard to prove with the scientific method, but we can take the scientific method and prove some of these things globalists still have a hard time with, like Rob and Lucas, you know.
And you know, one thing I'll say is that, matter of fact, I'm not gonna say it, man. I'm up to walk this video down right now because I wanted to make a point about, you know, our Home Depot Earth. You know, shout out to Charles Johnson. Welcome to the bill.
And that Home Depot argument's a typical Glober debate on, like, you know, but then that's where we say, well, they give us 8 inches per mile squared.
But you know, the crazy thing about the Home Depot argument, hey, Charles Johnson, can I get a mic check from you just to make sure you're not a troll?
Hello.
Okay, so salute, Charles. Yeah, but see, the whole Home Depot argument is worse than the globalists. I know globalists would laugh at that because if you look at this concept, which I'm gonna put on the screen here right now, on the left there, that's what Jeran wants us to picture. The thing about that, if we're debating the shape of the earth, and he's saying that the earth is the Home Depot, what is this ball in?
Right. And I
what
guess
is this other thing under? Right. You know.
Yeah, maybe that's like outside the firmament. But again, that has nothing to do with the argument of, is this, like, I love how you said, well, I only care about the Home Depot because that's all we live in. So the Home Depot is here. And man, you got around that argument that a lot of them could have like ran with somebody who's not as good at debating. And that's one of those times where I was standing up clapping because somebody might have gone on a tangent with and got off topic. And then you lose the whole debate where you got right back on topic. You say, hey, man, that still don't mean in the Home Depot it's flat. So I don't care about outside the Home Depot because we ain't there yet.
Right. None of us ain't in, if there even is space. And like, your debate is not, see, and that's where you know what really had me like, damn, Jeran ain't even really trying to really, this is almost like too easy for me. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, if I got paid a big bag, I wouldn't even give a fuck what people think. Right. I don't care if the flat earthers get mad, nigga. If Sanchez win the debate, nigga, I got them M's. Fuck this shit, you know. Up in the crossover, get this bag. And
yeah, I mean, if like YouTube was your reason to make some money and now you can cash out, fuck it, you don't care about your channel anymore. Like, go get paid and cash out, you know.
I'm just speaking genuinely from the heart. I'm saying I'm very weirded out in what's happening to Jeran right now. It's like I'm in an alternative universe or some shit.
Well, because if he is a shill, it's like for years, you know, you thought this guy was on the level. But if you are a shill, you're going to build your audience for a while and then take them astray kind of at the end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
that's how they even do with the cryptocurrency too. They'll a lot of folks did that with the crypto thing today. People.
What I couldn't get over is, you know, where I thought if there was a referee or somebody, a judge saying, hey, this is a debate, it clearly, and you didn't know Jeran's past as a flat earther, you would think he was arguing for the globe. And then the other thing was, is every point you'd make, he would always go back to, well, if I go down to Antarctica and see this thing, which is like in a court of law, that's going to be hearsay regardless of the video evidence. Because we know at this point in our community, there's technology out there that can fake something like this, or at least lead enough astray to go, oh, because it's a sun circling me down here, that means it's got to be a ball because that model says. But that model also says it's in 8 inches per mile squared, and we disprove that every day of the week. So, you know, I don't see how he can always come back to the conclusion, well, then the only model I have to go on is the ball, which that's where it's like, hey, shill alert, you know?
Man. And I ain't gonna even lie, man. I just got to make this stream and say to people, yes, I've been rocking with Jeran a long time. I'm not going to just go in on him on this stream, but I am going to speak from the heart and say, I'm just as confused as y'all. I don't understand about the Home Depot on top of a ball. Like, it was so weird, man. Wasn't it though? It was like,
weird. And what's cool about your channel is like, I'm just here at home in California. I'm calling in. We're talking about it, right? Like, does he, I don't know. It's like where that kind of proves to a lot of people, hey, Sanchez ain't a shill. Like, he's just a dude trying to figure this shit out. And enough of us, millions of people figured out that it's not spinning and it's level. So that's kind of cool where, like, you know, you're one of the bigger, like, seems to be a real channel, like, where, you know, anybody could come on in, you know? Most people could just get to you like we can and talk to you about stuff, you know?
For sure, man. And appreciate that, man.
I can talk, so if anybody else wants to jump in, you know what I mean? Like, I know I talk.
Oh, yeah, we got to keep your vibes, Vinny, man. We really going to keep it real today. Y'all hit the like and share button. Salutes to my peoples that's coming on. Let's go ahead and rotate y'all in. What up, my brother Retton and Sacred No Ledge? How y'all doing? And Chris M, what up? What's good, y'all?
Is Jeran really saying that he's going to switch his view to back to globe? Is that what he's saying?
He's saying that. Oh yeah, he said if he see a 24-hour sun, it's a globe Earth. It's not flattened. He's going to come back and say that. The whole Home Depot thing was crazy because he used that to get around the fact that his measurements are not going to change. See, let me show you the kind of shilling what I'm talking about. I'm not misusing the word shill here, and I'm not throwing this man under the bus. I'm speaking from the heart. It's shill type behavior, and I'm embarrassed because Eric DeBay been calling it out, and I never had problems with Eric DeBay, but I've always just said, hey, I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to deal with everybody. Now I see why Eric DeBay never really dealt with me, because Eric DeBay probably looked at me like, oh, he with Jeran him and he'll shield too. You know what I'm saying? So salutes to Eric DeBay. I'm going to always speak positive of him, and because he never said that negative about me. But I just hope that he see my videos and realize, hey, man, I agree with everything you're saying right now about this final experiment and what Jeran doing. And Jeran can be mad all he want to, because Jeran don't care if I get mad about him going to Antarctica shilling. And what is shilling? It's saying that the earth is a ball because the sun did this or did that, which is just not true. Regardless of what the sun do, his measurements ain't going to change. So let's play this back, y'all. Set the premise for the callers and for everybody in attendance. Like and share the video. Let's get the numbers up. We lit.
The thing is, everybody understands my claim. I've said it for 3 weeks ad nauseum. Okay,
right? We all understand you're fallacious.
Great. Yeah, sure, fallacious. Sure.
Corrupt.
No, it's anybody with any intelligence realizes that the sun cannot be going around somebody in Antarctica and the earth be flat. You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured.
Oh, my bad. Let me give my panel some audio. We taking this back so that we can set the energy and the precedence for everyone. This is where we at with it. I made a 3-minute little clip here to kind of show you, sum up the whole situation. Here we go.
The thing is, everybody understands my claim. I've said it for 3 weeks ad nauseum. Okay,
right? We all understand you're fallacious.
Great. Yeah, sure, fallacious. Sure.
Corrupt.
No, it's anybody with any intelligence realizes that the sun cannot be going around somebody in Antarctica and the earth be flat. You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations. No, it's anybody with any intelligence realizes that the sun cannot be going around somebody in Antarctica and the earth be.
Oh, wait a minute, yo. We got Z on the call right now, man. What's good, yo? Yo, man, what's good?
What's up, bro, Sanchez? How's my audio?
Your audio is loud and clear, man. Listen, I feel your pain, bro.
So, how much of that debate did you get to watch? Did you see the whole thing? Or?
You know what? I saw up until the point where he was talking about, where you was telling him this part right here, where you was saying.
The thing is, everybody understands my claim. I've said it for 3 weeks ad nauseum.
This right here.
Okay,
right? We all understand you're fallacious.
Great. Yeah, sure.
And I said to myself, I said, listen, I got to go live, and then because it was triggering me, and that's why, and I just went live right after this part right here. But yeah, if you want to fill us in, I'm gonna mute up. We got time today. Take your time, and this is a crazy time for Flat Earth, man. Real talk.
It really is, man. So we can go in so many places. What I'll just start off is saying with this, I wanted to debate Jeran today, and we did, regarding a very specific claim that he is making. His claim is that a 24-hour circling Antarctic sun debunks the flat Earth and says specifically that a flat Earth is not possible under that observed condition. I refute that claim And that was the basis of our conversation today. So we can go anywhere you want with it from there, man. And it's a big deal, man. And you know, I hesitate to conjecture into Jeran's mindset, into his psychology, into his emotional state. But I will say that certainly his reasoning and his logic is hopelessly flawed. And that's what I choose to focus on, and his flawed logic and his aberrant reasoning. And you know, I could only conjecture on why he can't see certain things, but you know, there's a big problem in his reasoning, as you've been pointing out. And I only seen a little bit of your stream today, and I didn't get to catch your stream last night. But my question is, how can somebody's belief in a reified, begging the question model of a flat earth be more important than the actual physics of this world? Because what he seems to not understand is that there's a big difference between the optical world that we view through our visual acuity and the physical world that we inhabit, that could be demonstrated practically, that shows itself physically. So this is the big issue that I have with his reasoning. In particular, the idea that there is not a one-to-one relationship with our observation of the sun. So if you view the sun from multiple locations on this earth, you find out very quickly, regardless if one ascribes to a globe model or a flat earth model, that you cannot have a linear relationship with your perception of the sun. Okay? Now, the mechanism behind that, we can conjecture, whether it's due to perspective, whether it's due to multiple suns, or like I said to Jeran, whether it's due to unicorn farts.
Mm-hmm.
Either way you look at the celestial data that we have, based off hundreds of years through the ephemeris and the more software-based models that we have, that there's not a one-to-one linear relationship between what we see and the sun. So to say that some observation in Antarctica of the sun in some way invalidates or debunks the flat earth is completely fallacious. So wherever you want to go from there, man.
What?
Okay, for
Sanchez
sure.
yesterday had a show where he went in on him exactly what you're saying for hours, and he went in on those points exactly what you're saying for a few hours. So you guys are on the same page. But I'll let him speak for himself. But yeah.
Oh yeah, basically what I was just saying was that Jeran out of his own mouth said, "We know the earth is flat. I've proven it flat. I've done measurements." He said that to me out of his mouth. I clipped it in the video. And my thing was, an observation of what the sun doing in Antarctica won't make water all of a sudden ball up and hold the shape of a curve and debunk the measurements in your test and your field research, Jeran. Like, and that's basically what I was saying, was that if we find out that the sun is 24 hours in Antarctica, then the honest thing for Jeran to do would say, hey, I'm wrong about how I thought the sun worked over a flat earth. But however, it's still a flat earth until they show me the curvature, right? I don't care what the sun doing. I care what the ground is doing, right? Because that's the basis of the conversation, what the ground is doing. And so Jeran seemed to ignore what the ground is doing, even though he's done several experiments, several projects to debunk the fact that it's not curving. He'll ignore all of that just because one observation. And I'm saying, every man knows I'm not going to argue with my tape measure over a fucking observation and a belief and a theory. Like, numbers don't lie. You feel me?
Measure. That was the operative word you said, measure. This celestial objects that we view in the sky cannot be measured. By definition, they could only be observed. But what can be measured? The physical world that we inhabit. We know that the Earth is measured flat, navigated flat, engineered flat, aviated flat. We know that practical demonstration shows a level horizontal topographical plane, one in which oceans do not convex around a spinning globe. This can be substantiated and validated. The optics of the sky cannot. They can only be conjectured. So why would we disregard the measured Earth, an Earth that runs off Euclidean geometry, that is based on the ideas of plumb and level, perpendicular and parallel? Why would we disregard the substantial Earth for the illusory optics of the sky? So I would agree with you. It's a completely fallacious line of thinking that I felt as though needed to be pointed out, and I feel as though I did so.
Yeah, you did, man, and I appreciate you. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Jeran
So
got
I
a
was
little
gonna say
heated
that'd be 2 days in a row that yesterday you pointed it out to him, and now today this guy. And sorry for not knowing your name, but yeah, seeing you in that clip, it was the same thing. You know, the logic behind it, it was lacking. There was no logic behind it, and you know, that's where we get to expand and kind of collaborate and try to figure out what's going on. But again, it doesn't make it spinning, or it doesn't make the water curve. So anyway, I'll fall back.
Now, Z, you said you didn't get a chance to watch my show. I'll give you some funny stuff, right? Jeran thinks we live inside of a huge Home Depot that's sitting on top of a ball.
I heard him say that.
Yeah.
He was saying the example is no matter where you go, the level's going to, you know, show level, which is funny because that's a torpedo level. What about a spirit level? What about all the long distance observations that evidence a level Earth? What about electromagnetic propagation hundreds of miles that would be impossible on a curved Earth? What about the Navy's railgun that shoots 100 nautical miles line of sight, which debunks the globe on its face? What about the Nile River, which is a 4,000-mile river that from its beginning to its end only descends 3/4 of a mile? How could that possibly exist on a globe where they say the center of gravity is the center of the Earth? It means that for 2,000 miles of the Nile, it would need to flow up against gravity to the tune of hundreds of miles. It goes to the point with Bro and I and others like us are saying, the world is demonstrably flat, call it level, call it whatever you want, based off applied physics and practical demonstration. So to use an argument regarding the optics of the celestial bodies is a completely fallacious line of reasoning, and it has to be called out.
The fact that I'm over here giving a freedom of speech for us to criticize the final experiment and all the trolls coming on, trust me, dog, these are people. Who does that benefit? You just got to say, and that'll probably answer who sent them. But I'm going to keep the conversation. Yeah, hell yeah.
When they come at you, you touching the nerve, because that's why they've been coming at me for years, because I've been striking them cavities and hitting all them nerves for years. You know what I'm saying? That's why they won't let me live.
I want to do
Bro
a show with him.
Let me jump in on that point. So it doesn't mean you have to throw away the AE model. It just means that there's other factors that need to be accounted for. What Jeran's doing, he's not accounting for any of those factors. He's saying, if the observations of the sun don't match my pre-indoctrinated, reified, begging the question model, then I'm going to throw out the entire flat Earth. It's completely fallacious reasoning. And before I give up the floor, if you don't mind, I want to go back to what you said about Will Duffy and the final experiment, and maybe give some information that your listeners may not know. Now, Will Duffy is associated with a man named Bob Enyard. Are you aware of that, bro, Sanchez?
Nah, Bart Enyard.
All right, you could look this up. Will Duffy, the church that Will Duffy now runs as a pastor, was originally under a man's name of Bob Enyard. Bob Enyard has now passed away, and Will Duffy now is in charge of his church. I'm going to get to my point. Will Duffy has been admittedly associated with Bob Enyard for a very long time. Bob Enyard has a radio program / podcast when he was alive. In 2018, when Flat Earth was jumping, Bob Enyard was consistently talking about Flat Earth on his podcast and how absurd it was, and was trying to debunk it. He did a fundraiser because he wanted to raise a couple $100,000 to send a flat earther up on either the Blue Origin or whatever they got going up there, supposedly 62 miles above the earth, supposedly, with, Bezos and the other guy, these things that like Michael Strahan went up in apparently, and Shatner. Here's my point. Will Duffy, the person who is basically leading this final experiment and financing it, says that he didn't hear about Flat Earth until 2021 when one of his parishioners happened to mention it, and it got him thinking about it. But in reality, his close associate, Bob Enyard, was actively looking to debunk and disprove the Flat Earth in 2018, a time period where Will Duffy was intimately associated with this man. So it begs the question, was 2020 or 2021 the first time that Will Duffy randomly heard about the Flat Earth, or has he known about it for years prior, lied to the Flat Earth community, presented it as he's just a questioning person? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. What I'm alleging is that Bob Enyard, his close associate, knew about the Flat Earth, and he was trying to raise money for his version of the final experiment. This is only the new final experiment that Will Duffy has taken over and adopted and changed it to this trip to Antarctica. So what does that tell you, Bro Sanchez? I'll tell you what it tells me. They've been planning this for a long time, and I conjecture that it is not these two generous Christians who just want to know the truth. I conjecture there is something behind this, whatever you want to call it. Let your imagination run wild. I will not give my opinion. And for whatever reason, our apparently most prominent flat earther, Jeran, is walking right into another trap, no different than what we saw from Behind the Curve, that Netflix debacle. So, Jeran, if you're listening to this, let me ask you, Jeran, this is 2 times now. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, now you got us all thinking, Jeran. You got us all thinking. That's all I'm saying.
Big facts.
Yeah, man. That's for real.
Hey, shout out to y'all. Oh, no, you good, bro.
No, go ahead.
All right, hey. And when he said that he was raised in look up what Jesuits were. When he said he was raised as a Jesuit, man, when I saw that, he was like, no, God didn't send nothing down in the form of the Christ. But that's on a whole nother thing. But the other thing was, this is the second time. Fool me once, like he just said, second time, it makes you think like, was the first time a play to get this second motion, in motion. And it's like, yo, how you gonna argue the flat earth on something that ain't the earth? Like what you was pointing out in the previous stream, that makes no sense. And the fact that he really, really wanted to disprove the flat earth by something that ain't the earth makes you wonder, like, let me think, what is he really, really on? And then when y'all started building on how he really felt about the flat earth, how he felt about life in general, and then the other brother was bringing up the simulation and the actual virtual reality, and then he was all the way against it. It makes you start to think like, hey, somebody in that boy pockets, like, get your hand out my pockets type of energy, right? So I see that. I peep game because I've been on the earth for 40 years. So I already know what's going on. And the reason, and I was about to bring up the fact that, but listen, I was about to bring up the fact, man, you about to go down there by yourself as a flat earth with them globe earthers, and you ain't bring up like, yo, this seemed kind of suspect, like maybe they might try to disappear me. And then he brung that up. I was gonna bring that up previous before you had that interview with him.
To this person in the chat room named God Carl, none of us ain't turning on Jeran. Jeran the one saying that the earth is a globe now and that it's a fucking Home Depot. Ain't none of us changed, nigga. I'm still saying it's flat motherfucking power. What about you, dog?
We saw.
Dude, like, I don't know. Niggas, I'm watching the same shit unfold. That's why people on the outside looking in should shut up. I might block God Carl if they don't get it together in the chat room. Because I don't like that statement, nigga. Like, do you know what's going on? If not,
and click the link. If it's exactly. Come up and speak your opinion and shut up.
But my whole thing though, with this is that a person said I'm lying on Jeran. I'm gonna say this again, and I'm gonna show receipts. Jeran said we live on a globe. He said that. I'm not lying on him. He said, and that globe has a Home Depot on top of it, and we live in the Home Depot, but we live on a globe. I'm not putting words. Let me play this shit back. I don't know if y'all got personality worship or something, but I interviewed the man. How y'all gonna tell me what he said? I interviewed him. It was me that interviewed him. Ain't that crazy?
I listened to the whole jump, and I heard him say it.
That's crazy.
He did.
That's crazy. Let's play it back, man. I'm gonna play this whole thing back. That man said we live on a ball earth, but we live inside of a Home Depot that's real big, and it's at the top of it. I'm gonna play it back.
The thing is, everybody understands my claim. I've said it for 3 weeks at nauseum. Okay,
right? We all understand your fallacious.
Great, yeah, sure, it's fallacious. Sure,
corrupt.
No, it's anybody with any intelligence realizes that the sun cannot be going around somebody in Antarctica and the Earth be flat. You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations. No, it's anybody with any intelligence realizes that the sun cannot be going around somebody in Antarctica and the Earth be flat. You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations. But I also understand that if you lived, let's just say if, and we're just putting an if out there, if we lived on a gigantic ball, which seems insane to me, but let's just say we did. Well, let's say that we had a Home Depot. We placed a Home Depot on that ball. And we know that everywhere in the Home Depot is flat. Just kind of picture a Home Depot. We know it's all level. If we put a level anywhere on that Home Depot floor, it's going to show level. Now let's picture that the entire world is nothing but a Home Depot, right? So it's a ball earth, but it's a Home Depot. No, you cannot comprehend that if there's a sun that goes around somebody in Antarctica, then the earth cannot be flat, because how did the sun get to Australia?
You made it sound like you're going to say the earth is a globe.
I'm going to say that the earth cannot be flat.
So it cannot be flat. So it must be a globe.
You mentioned that the ground always being flat, and I agree. I've measured it flat. I've done laser tests. I've done mirror flash observations.
Jeran, it sounded like he already was saving this flaw in his back pocket. Like, I know this right here is something that can debunk this model, but instead of me trying to figure out what worked, I'm going to use it as a hit piece for when the money is right one day. Instead of me trying to honestly figure out and say, hey, my shit don't work on my model, y'all. The earth flat, but we got to figure this sun thing out. Come on, let's have a think tank.
Well, right. And Sanchez, yes,
he wanted to sell out right away.
Right.
As soon as that check hit.
His thing is straight up. Oh, it's a globe again. Like, that's too quick, bro. Something ain't right about that.
So fast. It was so fast.
Yeah, that ain't even natural.
Yesterday, Sanchez. My bad, is Vinny. Yesterday, when every time you kept bringing it back to the basics, like I was saying when I was first talking to you today, like no curve, it's flat water. It was, you were like, so that concludes that it's we got it, it's flat. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden it can be the globe model ain't back in play. And you could tell if you rewatch it, he would never fully admit that, like on some weird. That's why we're like, whoa, what's up with this? He's not coming to that logical
He had
conclusion.
no plan B. He had no plan B. Exactly. He had no plan B for, oh shit, the sun don't disprove the flat earth because that's not the earth. And then it's like, yo, why you going over there presenting yourself as the leader of this air? Yeah. Here's the thing. Some niggas don't know that they're exactly. Yeah, they represented as the leaders in the mass community eyeballs, right? The optics of it. Jeran is the leader of the flat earth. or one of many. It's many of them. And you already know you the head honcho, right? But the key is they chose him for a reason because they knew he was fitting to flake because he didn't plan out his fight. He didn't know that the opponent had this and that, or he did know, and he was like, yo, they finna beat me with this. I already planned for it. And I also don't really believe what I'm speaking. I feel like that's what I'm saying. He don't really believe what he's talking about the flat earth.
Listen.
That's what it really
listen.
Go ahead.
He don't believe what he talking about the globe earth. He know the earth is flat. He just he's being paid. Listen to this.
Exactly. You're right.
Listen. Everybody listen. Watch this.
I want to show if you want to test it.
Watch this, y'all.
If this guy actually cared, he would go out and do this test, but he probably won't. Let me share my screen real quick and I'll be done. So this is the cheapest test you can do. Also the easiest test. It's just called.
But y'all finna spend.
If you do the mirror test, all you need is a camera, a mirror, and 2 people. Okay. And you have somebody go to where there's a body of water. Monterey Bay works great in California. I don't know where else you might want to go. But this body of water across here, let's say we're 25 miles. 25 miles is 104 foot of bulge. If you don't know how big 104 feet is, it's a 10-story building. It's huge. It's like.
And and if you debunking that right now, it ain't just gonna make that bulge appear just because you saw the damn sun in Antarctica for 24 hours. It's so weird.
The Jesus Redeemer statue in Brazil.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, go ahead, Vinny. Y'all got.
No, I'm saying that was crazy that like throughout if Z hasn't watched yesterday's show, I really feel like he should. I've never seen Z before today, but like you guys were on the same line of speaking to Jeran in your own way. And the weirdest part is the observer was like he wouldn't come to the conclusion with all of us and you that just because of that doesn't make this now a ball. And that was the weirdest thing. So anyway, my bad. I was just
It's like he already got his mind up for them to see a son and for him. And I'm going to tell you what my theory A was, and I'm going to give y'all several theories throughout the show. I think they're going to come back and guess what? They're going to say, we saw a 24-hour sun, guys. I'm sorry. And Jared is going to fucking be so, listen to me, y'all. I'm not exaggerating. Jeran is about to be very popular. Let me say that. And I'm going to tell you something right now. The footage that they come back with is going to be the best fake footage we ever saw because like Jeran said, we always see these 24-hour suns and they're fake, right? And I think that with all the money Mr. Duffy got, just like with NASA, they can make the ultimate fake 24-hour sun video. And guess what Jeran gonna say? This one's real. I stand by it. I'm no longer a flat earther. Fuck what you're saying. And anyone else that's still a flat earther at this point is just dangerous because you're just refusing all of that. He's finna be like their man. And it's gonna be like, because what do the enemy to the truth want? He want one of your own to turn against it like Judas. You see, just like that dude in the Matrix that ate the steak is what I'm saying, because ain't no way Jared can go to this simple little observation gonna make him throw all of this out what I'm about to show right now.
Right. That's 100 feet. So in between,
Hey, yo, bro, make sure you screen share on our
there's supposed
side,
to be
'cause we
104
not
foot.
seeing anything.
We got you.
Now, if you go out and have this guy hold a mirror, and you have basically the light's going to be coming, obviously like this. The light rays are coming down. Oops, sorry, this thing's in the way. There we go. So if the mirror's coming down and it's flashing on this mirror, and then you have somebody with a camera over here who's just looking across the water and trying to pick up the mirror flash. The thing about a mirror flash is it's a line of sight observation, meaning, and you can go do this right now in your front yard. Take a mirror out with your friend, start flashing the sun at them, and then get behind something like a car, garbage can, anything. The second that mirror is occulted, meaning the second that you don't have line of sight to the mirror, you lose all flash. So when you're actually seeing a mirror flash, and you can prove this right now, you will see that it's because you have line of sight between you and the mirror. Now go out to a water 25 miles apart and watch this person zoom in and pick up this person doing the mirror flash. Here's one that they did in Monterey Bay with a P900 infrared. Again, we can show you where the cameras are. Look at this mirror flash. How are you seeing a mirror flash? They're supposed to be 100 foot. No, they're doing 18.
You know how you become like Jeran, right? You realize the truth and you say to yourself, but the truth ain't really benefiting me. I want y'all to just hear me out with no interruptions. I want y'all to just let this sink in your heart for a minute. I'm gonna pull this dude. What was his name? Cyrus in the Matrix, y'all. The steak eater. Wasn't he Cyrus, right?
Yeah, I believe that was him. Cyrus. Yeah.
Listen, I just want y'all to think about this. What led this dude to turn on the truth? He knew he was in a fake act. They was telling him a lie about his reality. He knew the truth about what the world was. But you know what? People that don't value the truth, because everything is about $1 for them, man. Like, some people just can't understand that there are some things that fuck the money, man. Integrity, like honesty. And if somebody be like, well, what's that's gonna get me? Because you got to think about how a person gonna think. I've thought about it several nights. I'm only human. I said, look, man, when I had the lie, I actually had more people on my side. I was part of the masses. I had more support even. I didn't have, dude, I have to argue every day now. I'm not gonna act like the truth made my life better, like on a physical level. On a spiritual level, it did. It made my fear of death go away. I wouldn't trade it for nothing. Me understanding the truth about my reality has really empowered me in a way that I just can't explain, not to try to sound vague or spiritual or nothing. I'm just saying the truth really will set you free, but it never said it'll make you a billionaire. My thing is, if your concept of value is only in monetary means, you will be holding the truth in your hand and say, this shit ain't worth no money. And you would ask yourself, what can I do with this truth to get me some money? And you would do with it what Jeran doing with it. I'm going to keep giving it to people who need it, waking them up. Fuck the money. Fuck the bullshit. And I'm going to tell you something. The mind of this dude right here that's eating that steak, this is a guy that found out the truth and didn't value it. He valued a steak more than the fucking truth. He valued a house, a car, some money more than the thing that'll set your soul free. You know why? Because a person like Jeran do not believe that there's any spiritual implications for morality. They don't think that when you do wrong, something happen to you, or that there's. So just think about it. If in your mind you're convinced yourself ain't no God, in a fake ass matrix where they lying to me about where I'm at, I know the truth. Ain't no real repercussions for good or bad, then that'll lead a person to say, shit, do what thou wilt. Aleister Crowley type shit, like, hey man, fuck the truth. Like, the truth's supposed to make you a better person, not a rich person. But if you don't value, right, character, like morality and shit like that, see, that's this dude right here is the very spin image of a person that just don't find value in the truth. I don't know what else to say, man. Like, that's the only difference. Think about what I can do right now. I can go to Neil deGrasse Tyson, Science Talks. I can even hit up Professor Dave, one of these big globe channels, and I can say, hey, man, I got a business deal for you. If you cut the check, I'll go on your show, because I'm a big flat earther, right? You can check my channel, dude. I'm a big dog on a flat earth. And if you pay me enough, I'll go on your channel and say it's a globe. I'll say I was wrong. I'll let you embarrass me. And we got to come up with some kind of experiment because listen, how do you sell the truth? My truth is flat earth. But if I'm saying this shit ain't making me no money, what can I do with this truth now that I'm stuck with? Because I done made my whole image around this shit. You just don't go back to work. You're the dumb flat earther that was on the news and all of that. So my thing is like, what do I do with this burden that I'm calling the truth? See, some people see the truth as a burden. They see it as something that I possess that I thought I can flip for some money, but I found out it was a bad investment. So I'm hoping somebody will just buy this truth from me so I don't lose out when you've gained everything with that truth and you don't know what you got. And you about to sell your soul. And my thing is, that's what I'm saying. I'm just speaking my heart. Jeran can get mad all he want at this point. I don't care about Jeran's feelings because he don't care about ours. He's saying that this debunks the ground that we walk on, and he know that's a lie because I'm playing this video right here. It don't change what Jeran proved in this video. And let me quit blabbering and go back to it. My bad for the tangent.
Amir and two people. Okay. And you have somebody go to where there's a body of water. Monterey Bay works great in California. I don't know where else you might want to go. But this body of water across here, let's say we're 25 miles. 25 miles is 104 foot of bulge. If you don't know how big 104 feet is, it's a 10-story building. It's huge. It's like the Jesus Redeemer statue in Brazil, right? That's 100 feet. So in between two people 25 miles apart, there's supposed to be a 104-foot bulge. Now, if you go out and have this guy hold a mirror, and you have basically the light's going to be coming obviously like this, the light rays are coming down. Oops, sorry, this thing's in the way. There we go. So if the mirror is coming down and it's flashing on this mirror, and then you have somebody with a camera over here who's just looking across the water and trying to pick up the mirror flash. The thing about a mirror flash is it's a line of sight observation, meaning, and you can go do this right now in your front yard. Take a mirror out with your friend, start flashing the mirror, the sun at them, and then get behind something like a car, garbage can, anything. The second that mirror is occulted, meaning the second that you don't have line of sight to the mirror, you lose all flash. So when you're actually seeing a mirror flash, and you can prove this right now, you will see that it's because you have line of sight between you and the mirror. Now go out to a water 25 miles apart and watch this person zoom in and pick up this person doing the mirror flash. Here's one that they did in Monterey Bay with a P900 infrared. Again, we can show you where the cameras are. Look at this mirror flash. How are you seeing a mirror flash? They're supposed to be 100 foot. No, they're doing 18 miles, I think. So
will you look at him beat the hell out of this globe? Look at him.
It's like a 60-foot hump, but 60 foot is a 6-story building. How would we be seeing a mirror flash from the other side of the water when there's supposed to be a 60-foot hump in between you? The answer
now listen.
Is there is no curvature on Earth.
There is no curvature on Earth. Based upon this man going out to the field and doing an experiment. Jeran said there is no curvature on this Earth. Now Jeran said it's just big. He making the big Earth argument like the Globies. He's saying it's just a big ball, but see, there's a Home Depot at the top, and we live in the screwdriver section, right? Right by the doggone wood cutters and all that, right? So my thing is this right here, Jeran. It's silly behavior because when you get back from Antarctica, if you see a 24-hour sun, it won't change this experiment. That's the part where people got to say, we're not turning on Jeran. Dude, I don't have a friendship with a multi-million-dollar globe earther pastor that's been trying to debunk flat earth for years. I don't have a friendship with that guy. When his Bible say it's flat, like y'all better use your head. Let me tell you something right now, right? See, because Jeran is saying we don't have a model that can show what the sun does in Antarctica, but the globalists don't got a model that can show curvature. And you did an experiment to prove it. So you can't say because we don't see the sun do something in Antarctica, it proves their model when they never proved their model and rebutted this experiment that you did, Jeran. Jeran done several experiments that debunk the curvature. And no globalist have ever came and tried to rebuttal those experiments. And he just gonna automatically give them a free out and say, well, look, if we see a 24-hour sun, it's a ball now. That's my thing. You don't go from stuff like this to what he's saying now unless, hey, somebody hit your ass in the head with a baseball bat and you done lost your damn mind, or somebody paid you off. It's simple. I'm not going to play with Jeran. I tried to. Yeah, I tried to, but when I slept on it, dude, I don't got to come up here and just be disrespecting you, but I'm going to speak my heart and say what I think about the situation. It stinks. Situation stinks. Some don't smell right about this. And for flat earthers that's condoning it with Jeran, shame on y'all, man. It's a hypocrisy, because we've always said on a flat earth that what's happening in the sky phenomena doesn't prove what we walking on the ground. That's like the first rule of flat earth, and we will break it because we like somebody so much.
Yo, I'm gonna jump in real quick if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna fall back. Go ahead.
Yo, you just said it all right there. I wanted to point out that my debate with Jeran from earlier today, he took down and put that behind a paywall, so it can't even be accessed. Good thing I have it recorded. But I'm out. Yo, keep doing what you're doing, bro, Sanchez, and catch up with me, man. We should catch up because we can go into this a lot. All right. Peace,
Oh
man.
yeah, for sure,
Appreciate it.
man. Hey, shoot me an email or something, Z, so I can lock your email in and keep in touch with you, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We'll talk, man. Much love
For
to you.
sure. Much love. Salutes to everybody on the call. The floor is still open, man. Yeah, you don't go from that mirror test to we in a Home Depot. And that's my thing. Jeran know the earth flat. And that's why he got to say, well, it's a Home Depot. But it's on a ball, but that would put you outside the Home Depot, sir. It's fucking crazy, man.
Hey, yo,
this
Brody.
is crazy. Yeah,
Hey,
what's
yo,
good, Cedro? What's good, money?
It's good. Hey, yo, so this is why I think he compromised, because he's automatically neglecting the flat Earth, because he's saying that the sun is not working on it. But just like you said, like, does he believe that the sun is 1.3 million times of the Earth? Do he believe that? Do he believe it's 90 million miles away?
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to automatically debunk the globe too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a two-way street. So like I can see, like, if he's saying he don't believe in both, but if he's saying that he believe in globe, because the sun don't work, like they sun model don't work on their model either. So
I said it, Sacred Knowledge. I was like, look, I'm in an alternate reality. But you know what, though? Just because a person good at proving the earth is flat don't mean they good at having integrity and honesty and standing for something more than money.
Either that, or he's being MK Ultra, or he was always, like under MK Ultra because
Hey
he's
man,
a
I mean, we gotta think he went to a Jesuit school. How many of us can say that? That's a red flag too.
Some are called, but a few are chosen. He's one of the chosen. He's doing a job, and and it's gonna happen probably. And when it does, it'll be a big media thing, just like you said. They're just doing damage control because the flat Earth is still growing, regardless of all the censorship.
Man, Jeran is about to team up with McToon, Professor Dave, Fight the Flat Earth. He's about to be like their golden child. He's gonna be like the fucking Christ for the globe Earth community, because he's gonna be the ex-flat earther that's telling these flatties you're wrong and you're dumb, and he's gonna be able to say, and I'm the one taught you, so you know that I know.
Yeah, I think we heard more or less enough about all that is going on. And look, guys, like I wish Jaron well. I really genuinely do. But nobody did this to him. He brought all of this upon himself, and now it's just unraveling. And he is spiraling down like a tailspin, and he knows it. And that's why he's been really, kind of reactive and defensive. Like, what is wrong with me as a quote unquote researcher, like looking into Will Duffy and his associate, like Bob Enyart, and finding out, like, Bob Enyart's got some weird stories about himself, and like he's got a really messed up past. Like, what would be wrong with that? Like, wouldn't Jaron be interested to know who Will Duffy is and whom he has worked with? I would think that he would be the first person to want to know. And if I was in Jaren's position, if I were to be 100% honest, I would be like, oh my gosh, I really didn't know that Will Duffy was associated with Bob, and I didn't know this information about Bob Enyart. And I'm actually kind of glad that I got to know more about Bob Enyart and Will Duffy. Man, I'm not sure if I should be going to Antarctica with these guys, because these people are shady as fuck. That's what I would be thinking, and that's what I would be saying. But rather than doing that, he called me a retard. He called me a horrible researcher, and basically tried to discredit me, And he sent private messages to me when we were actually talking on the phone, and saying to me like, "Oh, I thought that you wanted to interview me and blah blah. I'm not going to give you a fucking interview, shit like that." I'm like, bro, like, relax. Like, I'm just looking into what's going on. And then when I interviewed Will Duffy. I had 1 hour with him, and I asked him about his past and his life and his journey and such. and he used to not believe. He used to not believe the moon landing when he was in high school. He's only 4 years younger than me. When he was in high school, he already figured out that he didn't believe in the moon landing. And then when he went to college, right? When he was a sophomore in college, he had a teacher of sort who is Bob Enyart. So already from a very young age, that Will Duffy had a close association with Bob Enyart. And then, when you look at Will Duffy on Forbes magazine, he became a millionaire by the age of 33. And, there's some fraudulent practices that he was a part of, blah, blah, blah. We understand all of that, right? And then, Will Duffy coming out with the final experiment videos and basically saying, well, back in August of 2021, I got a Facebook message from Wendy, right, who was talking about flat Earth, and she actually was very serious about flat Earth. Of course, like Z said, and like I said in my videos, that Bob Enyart, already in his Real Science Radio, right, and podcast back in 2018, he was talking about sending people to space on Virgin Galactic and collecting money on GoFundMe to send a flat earther, a prominent flat earther, back already in 2018, already 3 years prior to, Will Duffy ever hearing about the flat Earth cosmology. Does it make sense to you guys? Somebody is fucking lying through their teeth. And Will Duffy saying, speaking at Bob Enyart's funeral, like he was giving a eulogy, right? And then I go through the whole thing. It's 1 hour long. And basically, Will Duffy goes through the history of Bob Enyart, which actually I made meticulous notes. I went through the PC Weekly magazine, apparently where Bob Enyart was a writer for. I found like 6 articles that he wrote something, and then in the eulogy, Will Duffy said, "Well, you know what? Actually, the reason why Microsoft ended up hiring Bob Enyart is because they got tired of Bob Enyart criticizing Bill Gates and Microsoft, and they just wanted to scoop him up." And then Bob Enyart never signed a non-disclosure agreement with him, like back in the 90s. But I went through 2 years worth of PC Weekly magazine and found like 6, 7 articles that was written by Bob Enyart, and none of them were critical of the Microsoft company at all. Okay, so there's something fucked up about that story, and something fucked up about the story of Bob Enyart meeting, Bill Gates. Bill Gates' history, right? Like he comes from a family who were the original owners of the Planned Parenthood, which Bob Enyart is, like a staunch anti-abortionist. So this is another black and white play that these guys do, right? And then he's going up front and telling everybody about, like, the evils of abortion and stuff like this. And of course, that's going to have movement, a lot of emotional stuff that's going on with regards to all that. We understand it. So if you have actually looked into that research as I have, and as far as I'm concerned, I've looked into probably Bob Enyart and Will Duffy the hardest so far within the so-called community than anybody else. And there's more dirt on these guys, I tell you. And in the coming months, I'm sure more shit is going to come out into the open. And anybody who's been associating themselves, with the final experiment, the Will Duffy, is going to get their, I guess, their due karma. What else to say? And anybody who is associating themselves hard, like like people who are like supporting Jeran, and being his fanboy, and being like, oh gosh, you guys don't understand. Yeah, you guys are going to be found out. It's going to be clear. All the chats are going to be clear, and your stance is going to be clear, and you're going to be a pariah, and then you guys can, how would I say, like, throw us under the bus and say, like, well, these guys don't give a fuck about Jeran. Yeah, like, we didn't do anything to him. He did it to himself. He should not have come out and said the things that he said about Z, and calling him a retard, or calling me a retard, and calling me a horrible researcher and shit like that. And maybe he should have had a little bit of humility and listened a little bit, because like we didn't do it just to put him down. We did it because actually we care about the movement. We care about people. And actually anybody, if it wasn't for if it wasn't Jeran, if let's say it was somebody else, if it was Z, let's just say, and he was like thinking about, well, you know what? I was randomly chosen, and they did a random thing. They put 20 flat earthers into a, kind of a random machine, and then they picked Z's name, and I'll be like, hey, Z, there's something weird going on with Will Duffy and Bob Enyard, and you got to take a look at that, And then if Z came around and told me like, oh shit, Nachiketa, you're a shill or you're a retard. I can't believe you're looking into that. You should be fucking grateful that people are spending their like time, energy, and attention to like dig into the people's past to figure out what the fuck is wrong with them, actually, right? And then if they're like involved in something kind of shady, maybe they're not trying to put you down, but rather trying to save you from the situation. I wonder, right? But now, since Jeran decided to throw everybody under the bus, right, including people who were looking out to try to help him, now he's getting what he's getting. I'm sorry to say, and nobody wanted this to happen, but this is what unfolded today. Complete spiral, and really just kind of like a mental breakdown as far as I'm concerned. And he knows he's losing the argument and losing the plot. So what does he have to resort to? Ad hominem attacks of, well, you are an idiot piece of shit, and then muting them, and then completely rage quitting, and then hiding his video while other people were, of course, watching the whole process. So, what the fuck are we talking about here? I mean, this is what um, what he deserves. And you can feel sorry for him, or maybe he needs to be taken down a notch or two, and maybe he'll learn a little bit of humility. Let's just hope. We can only hope, and maybe he'll regain his senses, and maybe he will be the kind of man that he should be. I don't know, but only he can tell. Only time will tell. And at the end of the day, like, people need to take accountability for the shit that they say and promote. That's all I can say about that.